As far as I'm concerned, Roman Reigns is all time. Every single thing he has done since becoming the tribal chief makes him one hell of a legendary performer. And today, we're going to go back through his wild ride. And just quickly, in case you're going, Simon, why are you sitting on a weird sofa in the middle of nowhere? I'm currently touring America with the last match because I'm a weird guy. But screw that. Let's talk about the head of the table. Because yes, if we do turn the clocks back to 2020, where all of a sudden Roman was like, oh, hi, I know what to do. It's been so perfect, it kind of makes everything before this utterly baffling. Now, of course, the reason we're doing it right now is because Roman Reigns recently lost his World Championship after 1,316 days. And when you do take it all in and you just put it in your Tootsie Toes, I think this is a conversation that should be studied by historians. What else are they going to talk about? Now, first and foremost, let's not pretend that at some point in time, fans didn't want Roman Reigns. If you go back to the 2014 Royal Rumble, everybody was like, man, screw that Batista guy. We want to give it to that dude in the Shield that barely says anything, because look at his wonderful hair, look at his wonderful beard. That's one hell of a good-looking dude. But the crazy thing is, 1 year on, we did get to Philadelphia, and the big dog was booed out of the place, even though The Rock, his cousin, which obviously ties into 2024, ran to the ring to try and get him over. And do you know why this didn't work? Because it was just one of many stunts that management was trying to pull, thinking that us human being nerd wrestling fans are idiots. And while we can be a bit annoying, we're not stupid. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. It is just nice and simple, 2 + 2 = potato. What we were trying to do with Roman was bad, and it didn't make any sense. Now, it really did kick off after this point we've just been talking about, because when WWE finally decided to break up the Shield, when Seth Rollins got that chair and he smashed Roman on the back, we had decided, yes, we are going to make Roman Reigns into our brand new John Cena. Problem is, as you probably figured out, Roman was not John Cena, and anytime you try and recreate anybody else in somebody else's image, well, it's just kind of crappy to watch. I mean, how the company hadn't learned from this, I don't know, because you can go all the way back to the 90s, when all of a sudden Kevin Nash, Big Diesel, he became a good guy too. And for some reason, Vince McMahon decided, well, now you have to act like Hulk Hogan, because it worked for him, and why wouldn't it work for you? And I'll tell you why. Because Diesel, as his name suggests, was such a cool dude, and then he was selling for all of the heels. He was like, he's 7'1", I just want to watch him kick ass. And it was the case with Roman as well, because he had to smile and nod through everything until, yes, we got to that infamous promo where he did utter the lines, suffer and succotash, and for a lot of people, even today, that was the end of it. And if you do want to get into the nitty-gritty about why this wasn't clicking with fans all across the world, it's because it was painfully obvious one Roman Reigns or Joe Anoa'i was putting on an act. I mean, there was nothing real about what he was putting out there, so even though sure, he could have a bang with Bryan Danielson, and sure, we tried to create some sympathy when Sheamus cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase and stole his World Championship, it was like, well, this is just narrative. This is just a tale. There's nothing believable in you, Roman Reigns, so how the hell am I meant to follow you all the way to Mount Mordor and throw in the damn ring? That's a different book. It was just constant nonsense, much like when John Cena wrote poopy on JBL's limousine. If you're now saying to yourself, Simon, that didn't happen, look into my eyes, it most definitely did. The real mistake then came because WWE were actively aware, like in some kind of meta-universe, that Roman wasn't connected with the WWE universe, but rather than just accept that and change things and head off in a different direction, they then started booking him, knowing that the fans knew this, and knowing that the fans that they knew that. So all of a sudden, everything you were watching was utterly perplexing. Do you remember that WrestleMania where we all presumed that Reigns was going to win, and then we had Brock Lesnar retain, only to get to Saudi Arabia, when we did coronate Roman, but we did it in just a stupid way? It was like, why? Why am I watching this for entertainment? Why are you making it so damn difficult? Now, in hindsight, if that had been a low light, we probably could have got away with this, but as we talked about in another video, eventually we got to that dog food angle. And what people like to say about this one is, oh, well, it was meant for kids. Don't insult children that way. Even young human beings knew that this was absolute garbage, because trash is trash, even if you try and serve it with some ketchup. I mean, even Roman himself knew that this was absolute bottom of the barrel stuff. So what did he do? He turned around and he said to HQ, listen, I'm going to go home for a while, I'll be in touch. There were other fumbles along the way too. The biggest one, as far as I'm concerned, is when Roman Reigns finally defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and we all remember this. He came out of Raw and he stood there for 100 minutes as everyone went boo, 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 and they weren't saying boo earns, when he just said, this is my yard now, and he walked off. Like, it's genuinely one of the best promos we have had in the modern age, and if the week after this we had triggered the Tribal Chief character, well, it hurts me deep down in my soul, because it would have been one of the best turns, and I mean it. ever. Instead, though, we just dragged Roman through all of that nonsense with John Cena, where he was absolutely destroyed on the microphone. Fine speech, kid. And don't forget, this also tied into the weird world that WWE was presenting us with, because they knew that John Cena would destroy him on the microphone, and yet they wanted to see this just so the fans could react to Roman and go, well, we don't like you, even though the ultimate goal was for WWE to have you like Roman Reigns. And if you can understand that, drop me a comment below. Whatever you write will be absolute gibberish. Ultimately, it doesn't actually matter, because eventually Reigns got his own way. And look at everything we have been doing the last few years. It has been absolutely tremendous. And I suppose you could say that it culminated at WrestleMania 40, where he did drop his title to Cody Rhodes. So really, I think it just summed up what the company was like back then when Vince was in charge. He actively didn't care what you thought, and he would just do whatever was going to entertain him. And again, go watch Raw and go watch SmackDown. It's night and day right now, and dare I say it, it actually makes a lot more sense. Without this switch too, who the hell knows what happens when Cody Rhodes came back, because I think the chemistry between him and Roman Reigns was absolutely part of everything we have just seen, and it's just plopped into my brain too. We've talked about all of this, and we haven't even chatted about that time when Triple H just popped back and he became the world champion as well. And do you know what WWE did? They wanted you to boo the game, and they wanted you to cheer Roman Reigns, and there was Hunter walking around, crotch chopping him right in the face and leaving him laying on Monday Night Raw. So surprise, surprise, who was everybody behind? The man with 3 H's. This stuff is painful these days. I mean, honestly, we talked about kids, a kid could have done better. That's why I'm really confident with the new regime, because I don't actually think we would do this again, because look at what happened with the Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. Now, obviously, they are not on the level of Roman Reigns, although Bob probably should be, but as soon as they realised, oh, wait a minute, we tried to turn them heel, but nobody's booing them, in a matter of weeks, they had gone back to being babyface, and it just benefited everyone, especially if you are going to these events, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm being listened to, and that makes you feel good in your tootsie toe. I mean, if we had done that with Roman in 2016, my gosh, the stories that we would have been able to tell. Maybe it's probably best that we don't think about it, because my word, we wasted so much time. It's kind of bonkers if you do want to go back and re-witness this for yourself now, because you can actually see the internal struggle both on Monday and Friday night. I mean, the McMahons even came out on TV and apologized for everything. They said, we're really sorry, we understand that the TV is a bit crappy right now, but please forgive us because we're going to change. And then nothing changed. It was exactly the same, including Roman Reigns. So where did we end up? A boy who cried wolf scenario. And from that point on, really, until we have had this big switcheroo, I don't think they ever got the trust back. I just think sometimes you've got to go with the obvious, and we did the exact opposite ever since Seth did take that steel weapon and smashed Roman right in the back of the head. I mean, it was just try and fail, and we'll try the same thing again and fail, fail, fail. And I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times, so I will be 1001. That is most definitely the definition of insanity. I also think it's important to throw in there that it's a massive testament to Roman Reigns as a professional wrestler, because so many other people would have fallen by the wayside here, but he is so skilled and he understood where he wanted to go that he was able to turn this around, and again, if we are talking about the modern era, became one of the superstars of a generation. I mean, there'll be some people that have only been watching WWE for 5 years, and when they're 30, 35, 40 years old, who's the person they're going to say, do you know who got me into sports entertainment? It's going to be Roman Reigns. And not the big dog, it'll be the tribal chief. So really, the man was just totally miscast, so no blame should be put on his shoulders. But actually, I will say, if you are somebody who wants to sit there and just feel awkward inside, like you do when you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, then yes, you should go back and watch 2016 Roman Reigns. You will not believe it. Even then though, with all those silly feuds and all those silly promos and all those silly events, Roman still managed to main event 6 WrestleManias before he did go through the big change. So once again, don't knock that dude, he's killing it. Seriously though, hopefully the next time this does come along, we won't take so long before we do realise it. Although I shall leave you how I always leave you when we talk about those things. The evidence was right there all the way back in 1996. And yes, it does tie into WrestleMania 40, because who was one of the most famous of these cases? It was Dwayne Johnson, it was Rocky Maivia, it was The Rock. And when we finally went, hey, the fans are telling him that he should die, maybe he should be a bad guy, he went on to not only be one of the biggest stars in the world, but he recently came back to WWE, and as he himself said, you can't argue with him, He made wrestling cool again. So the Roman Reigns story will continue on. I don't think he is done, although I do think he'll be pretty much a part-timer from now on. But again, that guy has totally earned it. While there is some criticisms in the sense that, oh my gosh, he didn't defend that championship as much as we thought he should have done, I think he used that to emphasize his persona and just to draw a line under it. Even though his early booking absolutely did suck, when he took over along with Paul Heyman, with some of the bust stuff we have seen in a long, long time. Now, of course, you're gonna get mad about this, so please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe, and leave me a comment below. And maybe you were a fan of a big dog, and you were very, very upset when it was changed around, and that is fine too. Unless it was the dog food stuff that you enjoy, then you're gonna have to come and sit down with me, because that one I totally don't get. Also, please do click the video on the screen, which will be me talking about other bad booking within the world of pro wrestling, and this is a series that could go on for the rest of my life. Otherwise, take care, my friends. Thank you for supporting me as I do go on my adventures. See you soon.